take lemons and make lemonade. We make homes out the beds we made. I heard that there's forgiveness for anything, but if I ain't sorry, how can I be sane?
Disclaimer. I'm going to be talking about some heavy stuff. I just want y'all to know. Everybody not going to agree with me. The intention behind this is not for you to necessarily agree with me, but really to give you something to think about on a deeper level than what we normally do. With that being said, some of the things that I might say might offend you. It's very possible. So I just pray that you can hear what I'm saying in the spirit and accept it how you will. I think what I was saying to you, I said this off camera, I feel like giving pedophiles an out to say that they didn't choose, because I understand that there are extreme cases, but it then goes back into if you're a pedophile and you didn't choose to be a pedophile, that I feel like that's kind of like an out to say that in some cases it's cool.
No, that's fair. No, that's
to
fair.
be. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
And I don't feel like there is one. But I understand that there might, and you said in cases of mental retardation, so that means your brain probably isn't developed to a point where you understand what it means to talk to humans, to adults.
Yeah.
And so when you only have relationships with children, that makes sense. That then goes back into the question of how much of that is a choice from the child as well. Even though children don't have, in my opinion, they're not old enough to understand and grasp cognitive decisions.
Yeah.
In that, especially in that vein or level.
True.
Right. But you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I feel like the pedophilia I was referring to, which I guess there's now umbrella terms. I don't agree with that, but
what do you mean?
I was just saying, like, when you think about it, you kind of like break it off into an umbrella. If there are cases where you could be this, and so your brain is the problem, and then there are other cases where it's, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I got a good idea. I thought you were going down the pedophile, hebephile, and like two other things.
I don't know about those.
All that is what differentiates the two. That sounds weird. It differentiates the degree of the child as well as or not necessarily child, but it differentiates the degree of the relationship. So if I remember correctly, Tyga with the whole Kylie Jenner situation wasn't a pedophile. He was like a hebephile or something, which is a relationship with someone that's in a close family. It's not necessarily someone that's underage as much as it is y'all families know each other, or like taboo relationships between family friends or people that are in the mix with the family.
I didn't know there was a taboo.
Sometimes there are. That's why I figured it worked.
Because that's what I was going to say. If I had a family member that
nah, but I mean, I'm just.
Like, I'm not.
I don't necessarily mean like family, but like close family friend is what they is the terminology there. But yeah, for me, all in all, and then that was the other point that I was gonna make. I don't necessarily disagree with the fact that it's an emotional it is an emotional decision to an extent. It's just for me personally, I'm not going to parallel incestuous behavior with homosexuality. Because when you say that, when you begin to when you say that they're all the same, not necessarily they're all the same, but
they come from the same place.
Yes, I don't want to say that.
But that's the same thing as murder. They all of these things that I'm referring to come from the same place. If they weren't impulsive and emotional decisions at all, then homosexuals wouldn't fight for the right to be able to love who they want to love. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, I didn't actually stop you from loving those people. Your desire was to get married to this person in the same way that a man and a woman would get married. And your argument is, who's to say that this is the way it's supposed to be? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so your impulse led you to that feeling. You felt this way. That is why you spoke it. That is why you decided to put your life on the line for it. You felt it. Where did that feeling come from? You don't know. So you assume that it's always been there. Remember we was talking about beauty standards, and I don't know when I decided that I like lighter skinned women. I don't know when that happened. I don't care.
I don't care either.
I don't know when that happened. I was told that when I was younger, I already had an affinity for them.
Oh, okay. Subconscious, bro.
Say it again.
Subconscious, bro.
There you go.
See, but that's the other thing too. I don't know how to phrase that because I don't want to necessarily say I'm taking love for you, but I can't comfortably equate those two things because there are things that are taboo that all kind of got lumped into the same.
I think this video goes into the weight of sin for me personally, because I don't think that people. I think that because this is such a taboo topic, people are afraid to equate it to anything that other people find grotesque and repulsive. And the reason I chose that example is to show the level at which we don't understand what we're referring to. Because as humans, we weigh things differently. And so, in my brain, my human brain, there's no way that I would equate these two things. I didn't even think of this by myself. And it makes me uncomfortable to have come up with. I sat on this idea for a while before I told anyone.
This is true.
I only told one person prior to I told Taj, and then I think I told either Sade or DeMarcus. And then I brought it to your attention when we started doing this. I wasn't just out here just saying that. That would be tough. I have some form of compassion. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're right.
Masturbation comes from an impulse. People who are addicted to sex, that's an impulse. They're in their brains. They feel like they cannot go without it.
Well, there's some type of emotional connection there.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I feel like all of this stuff is emotional. From the desire to be with a man to the desire to be a man, and you've been a woman your whole life. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I feel like all of that stuff stems from emotion. If it didn't stem from emotion, it could not be so fickle and different between many different people, because emotions are different.
Now, see, to that vein, you are. I like people because there's still people that we try to make an argument. Now, based off of that thought process alone, that's
people are different.
But now, what I will say though, that's the other reason why I say like I don't necessarily because when you bring it to a worldly view, because where you're coming from is a spiritual point. Let's be very clear in that. Where he's coming from is a spiritual point. When you bring it to a worldly view, I think the other issue becomes the fact that there are things that all get put together. So pedophilia was cool, but homosexual relationships wasn't. Transgender peoples, that community wasn't accepted.
Right.
That's along the same lines. They'll take that. They'll cut at pedophilia, take that, and then take something like it's crazy to think about. Like 30, 40 years ago, people was getting killed for interracial marriages. Parts of Texas still actually do that. I digress. They'll take it's hard to put all that together. They'll run all that along the same line. So to those people that are homosexual, that live in those deep southern states. It doesn't necessarily come from a place of emotion. Everything in certain places, everything is kind of
when you say necessarily, that's we've talked a lot about subconscious during this situation, and so I think people need to understand that your subconscious has a lot to do with the way you decide to perceive the world and a lot how you choose to move until you unlearn this. The reason that most dudes have sex with any and everything, according to women, is rooted in their subconscious. Women don't necessarily see this until. So what you're saying is it's technically an instinct because we got to repopulate. Is that what you're thinking? Because I think that I don't think that I didn't need 300 women to make myself feel like a man. I didn't need that. And I'm not saying every man wants to feel like a man through women, but in most cases we're taught that. Not directly, but subconsciously we're taught that. So then when you go out, you conquer women instead of... You know what I'm saying?
I see that thought process. I will disagree in that vein because I feel like there are a couple things that kind of go into it.
Which are?
The need for there to be an alpha male or somebody proving something to themselves. which that's a separate conversation because I don't believe that. I don't believe that exists.
But that comes from another place of subconscious thought.
That we should probably gonna have to name this subconscious of the whole because this is breaking off into
Everything is a subconscious thought. If people understood how much of our thoughts are subconscious, it's probably been times why you do that? I don't know. I've always done it.
It's the same reason why you drive home when you driving and you're not thinking. It's why you drive home.
My older cousin, when he was younger, he used to do this thing where he would grab his arms and do this shit, and he would just do it. He just would do it. And so parents would be like, stop. Put your arms down, Darius. Stop. He would put his arms down, but at some point, he would just do it again. We'd be on the court and just do it. It's not like his dad was doing it. I've never seen his father do that, not one time in his life. He probably saw someone do it, tried it, and then it became a habit later. But he probably couldn't articulate to you, I saw this, and so I kept doing it. So in his brain, I don't know, I've just always done it. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so I feel like our choice of sins stem from things like that.
That's right.
Because it doesn't really make. If that's the case, that means that we would all have to be born understanding exactly what sins were. If you can be born gay, that means I can be born a murderer.
You believe that?
I don't think you can be born a murderer. Children don't even have the understanding for what murder is. They don't know they don't understand the gravity of life, let alone the ability to take it.
See, to that end though, that I feel like that kind of breaks down the argument more because you could make that same argument that some murderers and or serial killers don't understand the gravity of life, therefore they do not see it as valuable.
But let me tell you why that doesn't make sense. Serial killers specifically have to murder their victims. They choose their victims meticulously, and then the way that they choose to murder them is meticulous because they like the way that the person is dying, or whatever is presented to them is enjoyable. So in some aspect, they find value in the life that they are taking, which means that they understand the value of life.
It depends.
It's even to the point that sometimes, let's say that victims are people that look exactly like me, right? So all the victims look just like me. Dude come in the house while we doing this. The lights cut out. He grab you. He gonna get back to his lair and be like, "This ain't what I ordered." You're gonna live. You're gonna survive. You know why? You're not a part of what he has in his brain to do. You don't fit into the meticulous nature that he has in his mind.
I don't necessarily think that's the case in every single instance because I feel like some people kill on accident and then after that it's like,
some people kill on accident.
Yeah, because like let's say you were just trying to cook. That sounds OD. I didn't know the conversation is where it is.
Yeah, it's already bad.
You sat through part one, so if you're here now, no. So let's say you're just trying to take a shit right and cut her hair off. You like that's blonde, whatever the case may be, right? You have to be covered specifically. If she run and you yaga and her neck snap back because of inertia and her neck break.
See, but that would then not be serial killing because if you killed her that way, you killed on, but he didn't plan on killing her.
But he might do it again because it was like I just.
Oh, so he gonna make her run and then pull her neck?
No, I mean the neck.
Because now it would have to be accidental every time for him to get the same feeling. For real, because they're after a feeling too.
That's true.
It's like you keep running back into my point. It's like, this is the wall, right? And you like, yeah, but what if this? Yeah, but then, oh yeah, boom. That's what it's like right now.
Oh man.
Hey, I don't have no love lost. You know what I'm saying?
Always what about me is that they're not the same thing, and if you connect the same vein, right? I can't put them together because it's a giant paradox.
We disagree. I believe that when you understand humans and you understand our capacity for evil and our capacity to warp our own thought process and to make ourselves believe whatever we decide we want to believe, I believe that it is 100% possible to think like this. There are some things that we legitimately can't control. Like legitimately, why is this my skin tone? I did not ask to be born with this skin tone. I didn't ask to be born. I had no control over whether I was born or not.
He won the race. Be happy.
I didn't ask to be in a ball sack. If you wanna go that far, like I didn't ask to be in a ball sack. I didn't ask for my parents to be the people that they are, for them to have sex and then to create me and then to have a divorce later on. And I didn't ask for any of those things. These are things that were outside of my control, right? But they still are. Just because I don't feel like they're the right things does not mean that they should not have taken place, or that they did not take place, or that they are not what they are. That's my argument right there. Just because I didn't think it was supposed to be that way doesn't mean it's not what it is.
Your perception is your reality. So if you feel that way, you are that way.
I mean, yes, but how many perceptions are incorrect? Hitler felt like the perfect man was blonde hair, blue eyes, white. That was his perception.
We have opened the box, and I'm not going to leave the box open because I was about to say something. But I'm gonna keep
No, say it.
Nope.
We already here. Say it. No, say it.
By current today standards, he's not wrong. This is why he's not wrong, right? And where is that?
Peep what he said. By today's standards, not even by the actual majority of what people genuinely think. You think people think that?
No. Watch. This is why, right? Females want somebody that's over 5'10". In biking countries, they weeded it out so that you would end up being 6 feet plus. It doesn't match your exact qualities, but technically all y'all want to say, y'all don't care what the person's like. So he's not technically.
Hey, hold on, pause before you finish that. I don't like that. I'm short and I resent that remark. Go ahead.
I'm just saying.
5'6" in the house. What's happening? Go ahead.
He pruned. You can prune the races down to match a certain, you feel what I'm saying, scale, certain tier, whatever the case may be. And then that was
okay, but what does that have to do with the rest of the person? Your height is hardly that's.
We all know that's pretty much the only determining factor now. Don't do that.
It's pretty sad, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm referring to. I'm saying his idea of the perfect man, and I would argue that black people have shown him that's some trash. Like we come in and dominate whatever the freak we decide we want to do, making us athletically superior.
Of course, I don't think there were black people in that space. They were just Jews. So.
That's a whole nother conversation that I don't want to get into.
I know. That's
but
I know.
Still, the point was he thought in his mind, this is the perfect man. Mm-hmm. Like, period. Mm-hmm. Like I don't care what you say. I don't care what he does, how mean he is, what he does to people. This is the perfect man.
He ain't there.
But that was his perception.
He ain't never ever seen a black person.
That perception was incorrect.
But his perception.
As freak.
All I said was his perception was his reality.
How many people believe that Donald Trump was a great man and a great president?
You don't care either way.
Is their perception reality?
It's their reality.
No. But it's not truth. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
See, but truth is something altogether different.
Truth is truth.
It's factual, but it's split though.
Truth is not split.
It is.
Actual truth is not split.
That's why there's 3 sides to every story instead of 2.
So I'm gonna repeat myself.
Your side, my side, and the truth.
So actual, but you see how the truth has its own name.
But it's different. All I'm saying is it's different. It's separate.
The point that I'm making is the truth is one thing. The issue is we don't know what it is. Well, in this case, I'm 100% sure of what I said, but
hey, look, people are spiritual and that's pseudoscience. It's not.
But it's not just spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just spiritual. We can go into the schools of thought that will show you impulse. You know what I'm saying? And subconscious. These are concepts that don't actually resonate spiritually. The concept of your subconscious is not something that has been taught in spiritual.
No, that's true. I mean, that's true. But I mean, what you understand to be your truth is spiritual.
You see how you said your?
Yes.
But you didn't have to say your. You already said what I understand to be. So you double negative or whatever freak.
what you understand to be true is.
There you go. That sounds better.
It's you. And technically, it's pseudoscience. So it's your space.
I just want people to understand that a lot of stuff that we do is a choice, even if we don't understand necessarily that it's a choice. I think that later on in life, when we start to get old and we start to really reflect on the things that took place in our lives, we'll begin to see them differently, and so then we'll be able to rationalize with the choices and the things that had to be done. You know what I'm saying? I feel like in a situation where there's a gun to your head, there is no choice. Obviously, there is a choice, but you know what I mean. Like,
the decision you make then is just what you have to do at the time.
Yes, there's less of a choice.
Okay.
Because you always still have choice. But I believe that when people don't take into account, people think that for your subconscious to sway a different way, something incredibly traumatic has to happen to you, and that's not the case. It doesn't have to be incredibly traumatic. It could be something very small.
It could be traumatic.
Yes, it could be, but it could be something very small, very repetitive. You remember I was talking about the beauty standards when I was talking about how the women look on all the cartoons?
Repetitive is the key word there.
All the cartoons, women look a certain way when they were supposed to be fine. Naturally, I'm going to look for that in a woman because in my subconscious, that's been playing in it every day since I watched that program.
Well, that was made by racists, but I get the point.
Not just racist. A lot of those other terms that I can't think of off the top of my head. I've been watching a lot of political stuff, so there are terms in my head right now. I'm choosing not to say them because
the proud people.
There are other terms. I was thinking about Marxist.
But
I feel like that goes into.
I was going into saltine cracker thing.
Oh, I mean, some of those people are Marxist, and so that kind of works. I wanted to say left and right, but I have to do more research on left and right wing politics and understanding.
Yeah, I try not to get into that because all you want to do is jump.
I just like to know what it means.
Okay.
Like what those things mean when they say certain stuff. They say a lot of stuff. So, how do you feel like this episode went?
Hey man, this was cool.
How do you guys feel? Looking at this like,
Probably not family.
I gotta say what's real. And I would love for somebody to change my mind. You don't have to be angry about it, but I would love for you to. I would love for somebody to be able to.
I just think you should.
I would like for somebody to tell me, hey, I feel like your analysis on impulse being tied to
Emotion.
homosexuality is incorrect, and this is why statistically. I would love that. I have no problem with admitting I'm wrong if I'm genuinely wrong.
I'm gonna just say, hope you enjoyed the episodes.
If I offended a pedophile,
how would you?
I don't know. I mean, what if they? It's weird, right? Because, like we were talking about earlier, people didn't accept homosexuality, but they accepted pedophilia, right? So in essence, at that point in time, it was like, oh, you got kids, no problem. You with a man, and that's a problem. You see what I'm saying? That's wild. So that might be the same thing. Like, oh, you compared me to people that sleep with men. Like in the same way that homosexuals will be mad that I compared them to people that sleep with kids. It's not necessarily me comparing you; it's the action. Because if you want to be honest, anybody that fornicates falls in that same. Anybody that fornicates falls in that same vein. Anybody that murders falls in that same vein. If you lie, you fall in that vein. If you're an idolater, you fall in that same vein. Idolatry is a problem right now. Rituals are a problem right now.
Hey, look. All I'm gonna say is this. Hope you enjoyed the episode.
I'm letting them use me right now, cause I'm just telling y'all, like it's not a game out here, and the quicker we begin to understand the confusions that we face on a daily basis, the faster we will be able to recognize what we need to actually get right. And anytime you're thinking about a sin, wonder to yourself, how does this benefit me when I'm doing it? Is it beneficial to me personally and how I feel, or is it beneficial to the spirit? 9 times out of 10, when you look at something that way, you'll realize whether or not it should be done based on your flesh or your spirit. Because this episode would not have got done if it was about my flesh. And he can tell you that I've thought about not putting this up. Take that how you will.
Hey, look, hope you enjoyed the episode. like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. And yeah, any final words?
I pray that you listen with your ears from the Spirit and not from your ears of man. And I pray that you really stop to think about what I'm saying. But if you don't, I understand. And the Father loves you regardless. And I love you regardless. I don't have a problem with you. That's the biggest thing. It's like when people say stuff like this, it's like, oh, you have a problem with me. And it's like, no, I don't like your actions. I don't like anybody that murders people. Like, I don't like your actions, but I don't hate the person that did it. You're a person at the end of the day.